Cyclone MMA. This is a re-upload. Yeah, I had audio issues when I posted this video, and I got a really constructive comment that says, like, you can't call something trash. That's not cool. Don't do that. So we're going to say the UFC 315 card is not great. It's pretty oofy-doofy. Let's talk about it. So 4 fights have been canceled on this card. By the way, I'm going to this one. This is my first ever UFC event that I am going to, and I am excited. You know, Bilal gets a lot of shit, but, like, dude's a good fighter. Dude's a really good fighter. Not the most entertaining. You got the Sean Brady fight, you got the Leon, that were pretty fun. But, you know, for a guy called Remember the Name, he sure does get a lot of decisions. But he says he's going to finish JDM within the first 3 rounds with his boxing. He says he's not even going to really go for takedowns. So I guess we'll see about that, okay? 4 fights canceled on this. Haley Cohen versus Nora Cornell. That was put on UFC 314, I believe. And you saw Nora Cornell get a submission victory. You got Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. That was going to be like the 3rd to last fight. That was going to be right before. Or he's either going to be that or he's going to open the pay-per-view, the main card, that is. That would have been a great fight. Michael Morales, you know, a prospect who's coming on. And then you got Gilbert Burns, who lost his last fight, but is an old vet who's always game. Actually, he very much lost it. I thought his last fight was to Jack Della Maddalena. I'm realizing now he lost to Sean Brady pretty bad. Regardless, interesting matchup, some name value there. Benoit Saint Denis was supposed to fight Joel Alvarez. Alvarez pulled out with an injury. That sucks, dude. When we lost Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales, I go, at least we still got this one. When I saw that one go away, I was like, damn. This card is in trouble. Gavin Tucker versus Jong Young Lee would have been a fun fight. But no, we can't have fun things. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch this window capture to what I'm looking at here. Okay, just give me a second to figure this out. We're going to go like this. There. Now you can see what I can see. We're going to work our way up from the bottom. What are we doing? We'll go right there. All right. Brad Katona versus Bekset Almacan. You know, you got a Canadian. You got a home crowd guy. But, you know, this is a pay-per-view. This is a UFC pay-per-view you're expected to pay $80 for. I'm gonna go through. You're gonna have some nobodies on pay-per-views. Brad Katona's a name. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He's won twice. I'm gonna go through these. I'm gonna talk about them, and we can get into why it's good and why it's bad. Daniel Santos versus Jong Young Lee. Good on the UFC, finding a guy to replace Gavin Tucker there. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. I actually think this will be a good fight. No implications in the division. No one's gonna crack a top 15 spot with a win. But a good fight nonetheless. Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Erslan. I don't know if I've ever heard of these guys before. Does Navajo Sterling have a fight in the UFC? 1 fight, 1 win. He beat Tuco Takis. All right. I stand corrected. Modestas Bukauskas versus Ion Cutelaba. I could see this being a fun fight. I could see this being a fight where it's like a war. A fight where 2 guys are willing to stand and bang. Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Solid. Jessica Andrade, a little over the hill. Sorry, Jessica. Jasmine's coming on. She's a young prospect. Canadian. So good on them for that. Then you got the main card, Mike Malott versus Charles Radke. You got Benoit Saint Denis now against Kyle Prepolek. A guy who is not in the UFC right now. I guess technically now he is if he's fighting Benoit Saint Denis. He was in the UFC before. He had 2 fights. He lost both of them. He's being thrown into the deep end, because Benoit Saint Denis is a ranked fighter. He's number 13. I guess you can't see that, can you? Why is my thing getting cut off? It's kind of annoying. Whatever. Yeah, he's number 13 there. So with a win over BSD, who's on a losing streak, this homeboy who's not in the UFC could be right in the UFC lightweight top 15. Kind of crazy. Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. It'll be cool to see how Alexa Grasso bounces back from, her title loss there against Valentina Shevchenko, where she didn't look great. Natalia Silva has been doing it. She's been winning. She's been building a resume. With a win over Grasso, who knows? She could be looking at a title shot here pretty soon. Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Good on the UFC here. Give Aldo a main card spot, and you get Zahabi, the Canadian. So winnable fight for Aldo. Great opportunity for Zahabi. Then you got 2 title fights. I will say, good on the UFC for having 2 title fights for this one. There's not a ton of stars in the UFC, but with like Alex Pereira or Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, Volkanovski, those are fighters where you really don't need co-main event title fights. They kind of sell themselves. Here with Bilal and even like Shevchenko, like you need 2 title fights, especially if you're not really having a lot of supporting cast here. Name-wise, like not a lot of, top 5 guys fighting, not a lot of top 10 guys fighting. You got a handful, but Valentina versus Shevchenko, Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot, solid fight. Manon Fiorot is really coming on. She's this French fighter who's just really building a great resume. Her last couple wins, let's take a look. I know she's got a Rose Namajunas in there. Erin Blanchfield, who everyone thought was going to be a killer. I mean, still might be. It kind of goes down for there. But down here, holy shit. Time to wake up, I guess. Jesus Christ. Jennifer Maia. Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva is a really, really good win. Tabitha Ritchie. She's just got, like, a lot going on. And against an aging Valentina Shevchenko, I'm curious how this is going to go. Valentina, with the trilogy of Grasso, it really seemed like she was battling hard to fight off the new guard. And I felt like Alexa Grasso was that. And I don't know if Alexa Grasso got worse in that third fight or Valentina just like at the age of, was she like 35, 36? At the age of 37. Just like turned back the clock and got a really, really good win against Grasso. So I don't know. I'm picking Valentina in this fight, but I think the betting odds have Fiorot as the favorite. So I do think this is a good fight. I think it's interesting. It's going to be, I don't know what they're going to even do. I think Fiorot is going to try to strike, but like you're striking with Valentina. Seems like Valentina is like a wrestler now. At least against Grasso, you were surprised because she got submitted in the first fight against Grasso. But she was like, I'm going to wrestle and control you. I'm going to land some strikes. I'm a good ground fighter. I'm going to show that, and you're not even going to expect that because I'm such a good kickboxer. Excited for this. Then you got Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Now, while I'm at this, I'm going to move this back to that. Yeah, here we go. Just editing the video on the spot, dude. This is a solid fight too. This is one though you look at it and you're like, is this the best possible fight you could make in the welterweight division? And the answer to that is no. Jack Della Maddalena, he doesn't really have the mandate of the masses. I think it's a deserved title shot. You beat Gilbert Burns. You beat everyone else in front of you. Who else does he have? I'm blanking on his last couple fights. Kevin Holland, Basil Hafez. It's just like one of those things. Gilbert Burns is a great win. The Randy Brown win is a great win. But Basil Hafez, I actually thought he lost that fight. It was a split decision win. And then he fight Kevin Holland. That was a really close fight. That was a split decision win. You beat Gilbert after that and you get a title shot. He was supposed to fight Leon Edwards. that fight didn't happen. I just know in the world of Sean Brady existing, Shavkat Rakhmonov existing, like, I mean, even like Joaquin Buckley's putting together a good resume here. Ian Gary's putting together a good resume here. There's just like people I think you could go over Jack Della Maddalena. I'm not upset with it though. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm saying, as the guy saying this card is trash, you put Shavkat Rakhmonov in place of Jack Della Maddalena. Maybe I'm saying this card is mid instead of trash. I have full faith that Jack Della Maddalena is going to bring it, and it's going to be an entertaining fight. I'm not going to say that last part. But let's talk about the champ, Bilal Muhammad. We haven't talked about him yet. I actually forgot his name. Just kidding. I like Bilal. I really do. People hate on Bilal a lot, and I don't love it, so I don't like that I'm putting out this video because it seems like I'm hating on Bilal. It's not a Bilal issue. It's really the supporting cast that's not great. It's the reason it's a little bit of a Bilal issue is just his fight style isn't the most fan-friendly. You know, the goal of fighting is to win the fight, especially at the highest level. If you could go out there and just swing and bang, and maybe you have a 65% chance of win, those are good odds. 65% chance to win. That's great. But you also have a 35% chance of getting knocked out. Bilal takes out the guesswork. He takes out the risk. And he goes for the path of least resistance against Sean Brady, who's a great wrestler. He goes, I'm going to strike with you, and I'm going to throw fast, and I'm going to throw hard as I can. And he got a finish. Against someone like Leon, he's like, I'm gonna drag this out. I'm going to take you into deep waters. I'm going to slam you on your freaking head, and I'm going to win a decision. And that's what he did. Bilal's a smart fighter. He does say that, I don't know if I talked about this in this video or if it was the last one. He says he's going to get a third round finish. He says either rounds 1, 2, or 3, he's getting a finish on the feet with his boxing. He says he's got Canelo-like boxing. Okay, bud. I like you, Bilal, but those are big words. Those are really big words. So I feel like I've talked about this card. I feel like I've explained my thoughts on it. A lot of fights fell through, making this card worse. And to begin with, there wasn't a ton of huge names compared to some of the other stuff we've got. But it just seems like this is the UFC now, you know? It just seems like the fight night previously with Sanhagen versus Figgy, Ponzinibbio versus D-Rod, Reiner de Ritter versus Bo Nickel, Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones even. Just seems like there was some better names on that, so it's kind of disappointing. Is someone lighting bombs in my backyard? It's the dump truck. Kind of crazy. I mean, I'm just gonna say some names from that are announced for UFC 316. Okay, Murad Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. 2 big stars. Can we agree? Can we agree there? Julia Pena versus Kayla Harrison. Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van. It's a really fun fight. It's a top 15 fight in the flyweight division. Josh Van is such a fun fighter. Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. That's got, top 15 implications. Kelvin Gastelum's a fan favorite. Joe Pyfer's a beast. Marlon Chito Vera versus Mario Bautista. Johnny Walker's on that. Kevin Holland's on that. Vincente Luque's on that. It's just, you see something like that, and it's like, shit, dude. Why couldn't you have added more names to this card? But maybe I'm just a baby. That's entirely possible. This video is 14 minutes long now, so I'm going to go because I'm not saying anything. I'm just complaining. I'm just being a little bitch. I'll be there this Saturday to watch these fights. Maybe I'll try making a video or something to post for Monday. But I am excited. I'm excited. It's my first UFC card. I've been a fan for a while, and now I get to see it in person. I just wish that John Jones versus Tom Aspinall was on this card. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.